I'm not aware if you all receive a salary. I know some aldermen receive salaries of $150 a year, some small amount, but the idea is that you don't receive too much money above this statutory limit. But it's always subject to interpretation, and those commissions and boards are certainly treated differently because they're appointed officials as opposed to elected officials who have a lot more scrutiny, quite frankly, because you're the ones that represent constituents. Park board members or other commission members, they serve the city in interest of a specific topic, but you all are actually running in elections and voted on by your constituents, and you're here to represent the constituents. So, thank you.
Mayor, can you go back and repeat the stuff about recording bell?
Oh, okay.
126.9 or 115.260.
Sure.
Just what, and it's talking all in this, like how to go manually.
The 115.260, the interference by the Board of Aldermen. Yep, so this is one I haven't seen in a whole lot of cities, but it's the idea that no alderman should directly interfere with any department, employee, or duties of an employee, and that it be left to Joe Bobadilla, the city administrator, because it's important that the city administrator is aware of all the employee procedures and really the interpersonal communications and basically the boss, right? The boss needs to know about that, and when other people learn about this before Joe Bobadilla, it can introduce a lot of liability to the city. I've seen cities sued where an employee says, well, I told 2 aldermen about what was going on and the city never did anything about it, and I kept getting mistreated at work, and in that kind of situation, Mr. Bobadilla would never know, which means the city attorney and the mayor would never know. And also, maybe not all the members of this board would know, and so it's important that we follow this really to protect the city, because what happens in a lawsuit is the city pays out money, and when the city pays out money, the city's paying out taxpayer money. And that's the worst kind of situation, is where this money is supposed to be for the public, for the entire city, and it's going to one person because the procedure and postures weren't followed. And so that is why I assume this one was enacted way back when, in the 80s or 90s, I believe this was introduced into our code.
It'd make it hard too for like JD that has 6 bosses.
Yeah.
Fix the potholes in my street. No,
right.
Fix the ones in my street.
Yeah.
So it lets them have one point of contact.
Exactly. Yep. And he's got a direct report, and there is kind of a chain of command, to borrow a police structure, in that it goes up to Joe at the very top, and Joe makes decisions based on information he receives from the city attorney. I always like to, this isn't an issue in this city, but I always like to remind aldermen that when you're an alderman, your power really begins and ends right here at this table. Your power is when you're sitting here on the dais and voting on items on how to spend money for the city, how to obligate the city, how to set the city on the path you want to set it on. When you're at home, or you're at the park, or you're at the swimming pool, you are an alderman, that is your title, but you don't hold power there. You hold power here when you can vote on things together as a board. And really, you all hold power only when you're together in a quorum, because if we don't have a quorum, then we all got to go home. We don't even have a meeting. So it's a collective body.
Thank you.
Yeah. These last parts here are, I think, just some good, these provisions of the law. Again, it's more conflict of interest, and I think the best way to sum it up, and I can be done here, is that, again, when the Attorney General pops an elected official for a conflict of interest thing, it's because the Attorney General always says that it created the appearance of impropriety. And what the Attorney General means by that is that it looks like you're voting on a friend's contract, or you're sitting in and arguing for your sister to get the contract. And what that does is it decreases the public's faith in their elected officials, that they're going to be fair and unbiased and have the city's interests first before theirs. And so we would just, while this hasn't been an issue here, we would all just recommend that if you feel like it's close, let Joe know, let the city attorney know, and just stay out of that and accuse yourself in those kind of situations. I'm available for any follow-up questions now or later. If you want to follow them through Joe, we're happy to answer those. And just wanted you all to have this packet. I think it's very helpful for aldermen to have, to just kind of cross-reference from time to time.
Thank you. Agreed. Thank you. And I know I got my conflict of interest attestation from the state yesterday, so I don't know if everybody else will be getting those shortly, but remember to fill them out and turn them back in if you did get them. So, any questions? Thank you, sir.
Of course, appreciate
it. Next item is elected officials' comments. Do we have anything? He looked like I was missing something there.
This is usually Alderman Butts there. Everybody's like, yeah,
Well, again, thank you. Oh, I guess, Chief, did I understand you've got all your stuff squared away now, ready to do your test?
We're waiting for IPD, Independence Police Department, because it was 49 years ago. But, anyway, they're still looking for.
They haven't found the right box yet.
They didn't find the box. Yeah, but yeah. Hopefully, everything will be sent down. I'm hoping to send it overnight tomorrow to Jeff City, to the Post Commission.
Okay. Well, thank you, everyone. I didn't see, my road looked good. I don't know if it was Public Works or Mother Nature, but either way, no problems during the recent snow. So.
Yep.
Thank you. And if no one's got anything, we'll take a motion to adjourn.
So,
Second.